131일차 시작해보겠습니다. 네, 첫 번째 영상은 아노드 슈왈제네거 영상입니다. 네, 터미네이터 형님의 성공에 대한 뼈 때리는 조언 한번 자막을 가리고 한번 따라해보겠습니다.
I'm here to talk about success.
I'm here to talk about success.
Work your ass off.
Work your ass off.
I hate
Plan B.
Plan B. Don't listen to the naysayers.
Don't listen to the naysayers.
Everything I ever did.
The thing that I heard out
The thing that I hear out of
people's
that's
mouths was
impossible.
that's impossible.
That can't be
That
done.
can't be done.
Or no.
Or no.
And I didn't listen to those losers.
I didn't listen to those losers.
I didn't listen to them at all.
I didn't listen to them at all.
I would have listened to the
If I would
naysayers.
listen to the naysayers from bodybuilding to show business and
politics.
to politics,
I would
I would not be standing here today talking to you.
I would be in
I'll be an usher in the office, yodeling.
So
when someone says no, this is a stupid idea, you in your mind don't have to say, but your mind just says, fuck you, you're an asshole.
What do you know?
What do you know? With the age of 20, I went to London. With the age of 20, I went to London. I won the Mr. Universe contest as the youngest Mr. Universe ever.
And it was
And it was because I had a goal. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you're going, if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and never end up anywhere. You got to have a purpose what you do in life. You got to have a purpose. Have a vision. Work your ass off. There is no magic pill. Muhammad Ali worked his butt off. And I saw it firsthand. And I remember that it was a sports writer. It was in the gym. He was working out. He was doing sit-ups. And he asked me, how many sit-ups do you do? And he said, I don't start counting until it hurts. Now think about this. He doesn't start counting his sit-ups until he feels pain. That's when he starts counting. That is working hard. I went to college. I went and worked out 5 hours a day. And I was working in construction. Because in those days in bodybuilding, there was no money. I didn't have the money for food supplements or anything. I had to go to work. So I worked in construction. I went to college. I worked out in the gym and at night from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight when I went to acting class 4 times a day. Yes, I did all that. There wasn't one single minute that I wasted. This is why I'm standing here today. And it drives me crazy. People say they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day to work out. Or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve. If it is physical improve or if it is mental improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much will you learn after 365 hours in 1 year? You have 24 hours a day. You sleep 6 hours a day. So it gives you still 18 hours. There's someone shaking head over here. There's someone shaking head over here in front to say probably I just sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? But just sleep faster. But you can see how much time it is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard. You get work like hell and go to bed all your life, work like hell and advertise. So you work your ass off and then let the world know about your work. That's what it's all about. Let people know if you have a company, if you have a movie, if you do sports. Work your ass off and then advertise and let everyone know. There's so many of those people that say, no, we can't do it, we can't, that's impossible. That is okay because we just turn off. But when you start telling yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you are basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan. I have a plan B. That means you start thinking about plan B and the thought that you put into plan B, you're taking right now that thought and the energy plan A. It's very important to understand that we function better if there is no safety net. Because plan B is safety net. It says if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else that will protect me. That's not good. I'm telling you, I've never ever had a plan B. I said I'm at a free commitment that I'm gonna be a badminton champion. I'm at a free commitment that I'm gonna be in America. I'm at a free commitment that I'm gonna get into show business. No matter what it takes, I will do the work. I will do the work over and over and over until I get it. To me, it is very dangerous to have a plan B because you calling yourself off from chance will succeed. One of the main reasons why people want to have a plan B is because they were worried about failing. What is if I fail, then I don't have anything else? Well, let me tell you something. Don't be afraid of failing because there's nothing wrong with failing. You have to fail in order to climb the ladder. There is no one who doesn't fail. We all fail. It's okay. What is not okay is when you fail and you stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser. And winners will fail and get up, fail and get up, fail and get up. You always get up. That is a winner. That is a winner. I failed in bodybuilding. I lost the bodybuilding competitions. I lost the powerlifting competitions. I lost the weightlifting competitions. I had movies that went into toilet that were terrible. They got the worst reviews. Hey, we all lose. We all have losses. This is okay. This is why I say don't be worried about losing, because when you're afraid of losing, you get frozen, you get stiff, you'll not last. In order to perform well in anything else, if it's focusing or if it's in your job or with your thinking, it's only happening when you relax. So relax. It's okay to fail. Let's just go all out and give it everything you've got. That's what it's all about. So don't be afraid of fail. 네, 잘 들었고요. 두 번째 영상, 오바마 영상을 보겠습니다. 이거는 한 표씩 보면서 따라요. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you got going on and all, none of that is an excuse. There is no excuse for not trying. I've given a lot of speeches about education, and I've talked about responsibility a lot. I've talked about teachers' responsibility for inspiring students and pushing you to learn. I've talked about your parents' responsibility for making sure you stay on track and you get homework done. And don't spend every waking hour in front of TV or with an Xbox. I've talked a lot about your government's responsibility for setting high standards, supporting teachers and principals, and turning along schools that are working, where students are getting the opportunities that they deserve. But at the end of the day, we can have the most dedicated teachers. We can have the most dedicated teachers, the most supportive
best
parents,
schools in the world,
the best schools in the world,
none of it
and none of it
will make a difference.
will make a difference.
None of it will matter.
None of it will
Unless
matter
all of you fulfill your
unless all of you fulfill
responsibilities.
unless all of you fulfill unless all of you fulfill your responsibility.
Unless you show up to those schools,
Unless you show up to those schools,
unless you pay attention to those teachers,
unless you pay attention to those teachers,
unless you listen to your parents and grandparents
unless you listen to your parents and grandparents
and other adults
and other
and
others,
put in
and
the hard
put
work
in the hard work it
it takes
takes
to
to succeed.
That's what I want to focus on.
That's what I want to focus on today.
Responsibility each of you has for
The
your
responsibility each of you has for your education.
I want to start with the responsibility you have to yourself.
I want to start with the responsibility you have to yourself.
Every single
Every
one of
single one of
you
you
has something,
has something that you're good. Every single one of you has something to offer.
You have a responsibility
You
to
have
yourself
responsibility to yourself to discover what that is. That's the opportunity an education can provide. Maybe it could be a great writer. Maybe you're even good enough to write a book or articles in newspaper, but you might not know it. Maybe you could be an innovator or inventor. Maybe even good enough to come up with the next iPhone or a new medicine or vaccine, but you might not know it until you do a project for your science class. Maybe you could be a mayor or a senator or a Supreme Court justice. But you might not know it until you join the student government
or the debate team.
or the debate team.
No matter what you want to do with your life,
And no matter what to do with your life, and no matter what you do with your life, no matter what you want to do with your life, I guarantee that you will need an education to do it. You will need an education to do it. I guarantee that you will need an education. You will need an education to do it.
You want to be a doctor or a teacher or a
You want to be a
police
doctor or a teacher or a police officer.
officer? You want to be a nurse or an architect?
You want to be a nurse or architect
A
lawyer,
or a member of our military?
or a member of our military.
You're going to
You're
need
gonna need
a
a good
every
education
single
for
one of
every
those
single one of those
careers.
careers.
You cannot drop out of school
You cannot drop out of school
and just drop into a good job.
and just drop into a good job. You cannot drop out of school and just drop into a good job.
You've got to train
You
for
got
it
to train for it and work for it
and learn for
and
it.
love for it.
This isn't
And this isn't just important for your own life and your own
You
future.
make of your education will decide nothing
When you make of your education will decide
less than the future of this country.
nothing less than the future of this country. When you make of your education will decide nothing less than the future of this country.
The future
The future
of America
of America
depends on you.
depends on you.
What you're learning in school today will determine
What you are learning in school today will determine
whether
whether
we as a nation can meet
will
our
determine whether we as a nation
greatest challenges in the future.
can meet our greatest challenges in the future. What you are learning in school today
Determine whether we as a nation
will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges in the future.
can meet our greatest challenges in the future. You'll need the
You will need the
knowledge
knowledge and problem-solving skills you learn in science and math to cure diseases like cancer and AIDS, and to develop new analytical technologies and protect our environment. You'll need insights and critical thinking skills you gain in history and social studies to fight poverty and homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You'll need the creativity and ingenuity you develop in all your classes to build new companies that will create new jobs and boost our economy. We need every single one of you to develop your talents, your skills, and your intellect so you can help us, other folks, solve our most difficult problems. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're not just quitting on yourself, you're quitting on your country. I know it's not always easy to do well at school. I know that a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. They can make it hard to focus on your schoolwork. I get it. I know what it's like. My father and my family when I was 2 years old. And I was raised by a single mom who had to work, who was struggling with times to pay the bills, and wasn't always able to give us the things that other kids did. There were times when I missed
life.
having a father in my life. There were times when I was lonely and I felt like I didn't feel and I felt like I didn't fit.
Always
So I
as
wasn't
focused
always
as I
as
should have
focused
been on
as I
school.
should have been on
I
school,
did some things that I'm not proud of.
and I did some things I'm not proud of.
I got in more trouble than I should have.
I got in more trouble than I should have.
And my life
In my life,
could have easily
my
taken
life grew up
turned
easily
for the
taken
worse.
a
But
turn for the worse.
I was lucky.
But I
I
was
got a
lucky.
lot of second chances.
I got a lot of
And I had
second
the
chances.
opportunity to go to
I
college,
had the
law school,
opportunity to go to
follow
college
my
and law
dreams.
school
My
and follow
wife,
my
our
dream.
first
My
lady,
wife,
Michelle
and
Obama, she
my
has
first lady was Michelle
a
Obama.
similar story.
She was
Neither
small
of her
story.
parents
Neither of her
had gone to
parents
college.
had gone to
They didn't
college,
have a lot of
and they
money.
didn't have a
But they
lot of
worked
money.
hard,
They
and
worked
she
hard, and
worked
she
hard
worked
so that
hard.
she could go to
She
the best
so that she
schools
could
in
go to
this
the
country.
best schools in this
Some of you
country.
might not
Some of
have
you might
those
not have
advantages.
those
Maybe you don't
advantages.
have
Maybe you don't
adults
have
in your life
adults in your
give
life
you the support
who
that
give
you
you the
need.
support that
Maybe
you need.
someone in your
Maybe
family has
someone in
lost
your
their
family
job.
has
There's
lost
not
the
enough money
job.
to go around.
There's not
Maybe you
enough
live
money
in
to
a
go around.
neighborhood
Maybe
where
you
you
live
don't
in a
feel safe,
neighborhood
or
where
have
you didn't
friends
feel safe,
who are pressuring you to
or
do
have
things
friends, or have friends who are pressuring you to do the things
you
you
know
know
aren't
are
right.
right.
But at the end of the day,
But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life,
what
what
you
you
look
like,
like,
where you come from, how much money you have,
what
what you
you've
got
got going
going on
on
at
at
home,
home,
none of that is an excuse for neglecting your homework or having a bad attitude in school. That's no excuse for talking back to your teacher or cutting class or dropping out of school. There is no excuse for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you end up. Where you are right now, where you are in right now,
No one's for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up.
where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you will end up. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you will end up. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you will end up. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you will end up. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you will end up.
No one's written your destiny for you.
No one's written your destiny for you.
Because here in America,
Because here in
you write
America,
your own destiny.
you write your own destiny.
You make your own
You
future.
make your own
That's
future.
what young people like you are
That's
doing
what young people like you
every day,
are doing
all
every
across
day
America.
all across
Young
America.
people like Jasmine Perez
Young people like Jasmine Perez
from Roma, Texas.
from Roma, Texas.
Jasmine didn't speak English
Jasmine didn't speak English
when she first started school.
when she first started school.
Neither
Neither of
of her parents
her
had gone to
parents
college.
had gone to
She
college.
worked hard,
But she
earned
worked
good
hard,
grades,
earned good
got a
grades,
scholarship to Brown University.
and got a scholarship to Brown University. Brown University is now in graduate school, studying public health, on her way to becoming Dr. Jasmine Perez. I'm thinking about Andoni Schultz from Los Altos, California, who survived brain cancer
Since he was three.
since
He's
we
had to
were
endure
three.
all sorts of treatments and surgeries. Brain cancer since he was three. He's had to endure all sorts of treatments and
He's had to endure all sorts of treatments,
one of which affected his memory. He's had to endure all sorts of treatments and surgeries.
he's had to endure all sorts of treatments and surgeries. He's had to endure all sorts of treatments and surgeries,
One of which affected his memory.
one of which affected his memories.
So it took him much
Memory.
longer.
So it took him much longer, hundreds of extra hours to do his
He never
schoolwork.
fell behind.
But he never fell behind.
He's headed to college this fall.
He's headed to college this fall.
Then there's Chantel Steve
And then
from my
Sean,
hometown of
and then
Chicago.
there is Sean
Fell
Steve.
behind. He's headed to college this fall. Then there's Chantel Steve
And then there is Chantel Steve
from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. From my hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
Even
Even
when
when bouncing from foster home to foster home in the toughest neighborhoods in the city, she managed to get a job at a local healthcare center, start a program to keep young people out of gangs, and she's on track to graduate high school with honors and go on to college. Jasmine, Johnny, Chantel aren't any different from any other. They face challenges in their lives just like you do.
Aren't any different from any of you.
Aren't any different from any of you.
They face challenges in their lives just like you do.
In their lives just like you do. They face challenges in their lives just like you do. They face challenges in their lives just like you do. They face challenges in their lives just like you do.
In some
In
cases,
some
they've got it
cases,
a lot worse off.
they've got it a lot. They got it a lot worse off. They've got it a lot worse off. In some cases, they've got it a lot. They got it a lot worse off
Than many of you.
than many
But
of
they
you.
refuse to give up.
But they want to. They refuse to give up.
They chose to
They
take
chose.
responsibility for their
They
lives,
chose to take responsibility for their lives,
for their education,
for their education,
and set goals for themselves.
and
I
set goals for themselves.
expect all of you to do the same.
And I expect all of you do the same. All of you
For their
do the same.
education and set goals for themselves. And I
Set goals for themselves.
expect all of you to do the same.
I expect all of you to do the all of you to do the same. All of you to do the same. To do the same. To do the same. And I expect all of you to do the same. To do the same. And I expect all of you to do the same.
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set
your own goals for your education.
your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on you calling on calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set
You to do the same. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education.
to set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set one goal to set your own goals through your education.
All of you to do the same. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education.
Each of you to set.
Do
Each
the
of you
same.
to set.
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education.
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your each of you to set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set own goals. If you do set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on you each of you to if you, each of you do set your own goals through your education. Set your own goals through your education. Set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education.
You to do the same. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education.
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set own goals, set your own goals through set your own goals through the education, through your education. That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals through your education
And do
and do
everything you can to
everything you can to make.
But whatever you
But
resolve
whatever you
to do,
resolve to do,
I want you to
I
commit
want
to
you to
it.
commit to it.
I want you to
I
really
want
work
you to
at it.
really work
I
at
know
it.
that
I know that
sometimes
sometimes
you get that
you
sense from TV that
you get the sense from TV that
you can be rich
you
and
can be
successful
rich
without
and
any hard work.
successful without any hard work.
Ticket to success is through
That
rapping,
your ticket to success is through rapping,
basketball,
from basketball,
being a
being a reality TV
Chances
star.
are you're not going to be
Chances
any
are
of
you,
those things.
chances are you are not gonna be in those things.
Being a reality TV star,
Chances
chances
are
are
not.
you're not going to be any of those things.
You are not gonna be any of those things. You are not gonna be any of those things. Chances are you are not gonna be you are not gonna be any of those things. Any of those things. Chances are you are not gonna be any of those things.
The
The
truth is,
truth
being
is,
successful
being successful is
You
hard.
won't love
You
every
will love every
subject
subject
that you
you
study.
study.
You
You
won't
won't
click
click
with
with every teacher
that you
that you
have.
have.
Not every homework
Not every homework
assignment
assignment
will
will
seem
seem
completely
completely
relevant
relevant
to
to
your
your
life
life
at this minute.
and you
And
won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who have had mo- ones who
Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures.
ones who had the most failures. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who had the most failures. Some of the most successful people in the world are the mo- are the ones who've had ones are the ones who've had the most failures. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures.
J.K.
J.K.
Rowling,
Rowling,
who wrote
who
Harry
wrote
Potter. Her
Harry
first
Potter.
Harry Potter book was
J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, who wrote Harry Potter.
rejected
Her
12
first Harry Potter book was rejected
times
12
before it was
times
finally published.
before it was
Michael
finally
Jordan
published.
was cut from
Michael
his high
Jordan
school
was
basketball
cut from
team.
his
He
high school
lost hundreds of
basketball
games
team.
and missed
He lost hundreds of games and missed
thousands of shots during his
thousands of
career.
shots
But
during
he
his
once
career.
said,
But he once said,
over and over and over
I have failed over and over and over
again
again
in my life.
in my life.
And
And
that's why I
that's
succeed.
why I succeed.
These people succeeded because they
These
understood
people succeed because they understood
that
that
you
you can't let your failures define you. You can't let your failures define you. You can't let your failures define you. You can't let your failures define you because they succeeded. Because because they understood that you can't let your failures define you.
you have to let your failures teach you.
You have to let your failures teach you.
You have to let them show you
You
what to
you have to let them show
do
you
differently the next time.
what to do differently next time. You have to let them show you what to do differently next time.
So if you get into trouble,
So if you get into
that doesn't
trouble,
mean you're a troublemaker.
it doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. If you get into trouble, it doesn't mean that you are a troublemaker. If you get into trouble, it doesn't mean that you are a troublemaker.
It means you need to try harder,
It means you need to try harder
to act right.
to act
If you
right.
get a bad grade, that
It means that it means that
maker. It means you need to try harder.
it means you need to try harder. It means you need to try harder to act right. It means you need to try harder to act right.
To act right. If you get a bad
If
grade,
you
that
get a
doesn't mean you're
bad grade,
stupid. It just means
that doesn't mean you're a stupid. That doesn't mean you're a stupid.
you need to spend more time
It just
studying.
means you need to spend more time studying. If you had a bad grade, it doesn't mean you are stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying. It just means you need to spend more time. You need to spend more time studying. You need to spend more time studying. If you had a bad grade, it doesn't mean you are stupid. It means that you need more time studying. It just means you
No
need
one's
to more
born
time.
being good
No one's born being good
at all things.
at all things.
You become good
You,
at
you
things
become
through
good at
hard
things
work.
through hard work. You are not a varsity athlete the first time you play a sport. You don't hit every note the first time you sing a song. You got to practice. The same principle applies to your heart. You might have to do a math problem a few times, then you get it right. You might have to read something a few times when you understand it. You definitely have to do a few drafts of paper before it's good enough to hand in. Don't be asking. Don't be asked for. Don't be asked
Good enough to
to.
hand in. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be asked. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
I do that every
I do
day.
that every day.
Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness.
Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign of weakness.
It's a sign of strength.
It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of strength.
Because it shows you have the courage to admit when you don't
Because it shows you have the courage to admit. Because it shows you have the courage to admit
know something. And
when you done something. Because it shows you have the courage to admit when you done something. Because it shows you have the courage to admit when you done something.
then allows you to
and and that then allows you learn something new, and that then allows you learn something new.
So find an
So find a
adult that you trust,
adult in your
a
trust,
parent,
a parent, a grandparent, a teacher,
coach,
a
or
coach, or a
counselor.
counselor. 네, 오늘 여기까지 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.